Ideas at Work's most read features of 2018 revealed what makes pop music popular, offered health advice, and called for renewed strategic focus amid the seductive distractions of our hyper-connected age. Read them all here. 1. What makes a hit? Our most popular story of the year, What Makes a Hit, explored Assistant Professor Michael Moskiff's research into what makes pop music popular. Turns out, these breakout songs have a shared recipe for success. They simultaneously conform to prevailing musical feature profiles while exhibiting some degree of individuality or novelty, according to Moskiff. The article's interactive graphics allow readers to deconstruct the sonic attributes of all Billboard chart toppers over the past 60 years. Check out our related stories about the predictable averageness of music and about social media's ability to boost song plays. 2. Want to exercise more? Write yourself a letter. The simple act of penning a note to your future self will increase your likelihood of exercising and push you to work out longer, according to Assistant Professor of Business Michael Slepian. His fascinating research shows that, by connecting today's exercise decisions to future health results through a letter to oneself, people can be motivated to exercise. Realizing that a new set of skills or credentials are needed to move up the ranks might feel daunting when the future self feels too far removed, Slepian writes with his study's co-authors. Yet, when seeing the continuity between one's current and future self, the benefit obtained by each effortful task may be better realized. 3. Escaping the tyranny of the day-to-day. In this timely story for our hyper-connected age, Professor of Practice Willie Peterson calls for a major adjustment to the way we focus our energy. The average American spends nearly 6 hours a day on digital media, mostly on mobile. We're lucky if we sleep as much as we type, text, and tweet. These seductive distractions of the here and now commandeer our attention, control our thinking, and scatter our efforts, requiring leaders more than ever unify their organizations around a strategic purpose, says Peterson. For more of Peterson's insights, read his recent piece, New Year's Resolution, Escape the Calendar. 4. Sears, a case study in business failure. When Sears Holdings declared bankruptcy in October, nobody could say that Mark Cohen, 71, hadn't warned them. For years, the adjunct professor and director of retail studies has been predicting Sears' demise because of failing to uphold what Cohen calls the 5 pillars of retail business: product, price, presentation, productivity, and people. You can't cost-cut your way to success, says Cohen, who is now keeping a careful watch on the struggling retailers J.C. Penney and Macy's for signs of further distress. 5. What's in a name? What you name your children could influence how they look, so name carefully. That revelation from marketing professor Jacob Goldenberg made international headlines when his study was first published in 2017. In this update to Goldenberg's ongoing research into name-face matching, he talks about a forthcoming study into how identical twins will over time look less identical because of their names, implying that for twins to remain especially twin-like, they'd need to share the same names and not just the same genes. 6. The new languages of business: Python, SQL, R. Assistant Professor and Y Combinator-backed entrepreneur Matten Griffel lays out the case for MBAs to learn programming and coding. These are no longer the obscure tools of computer scientists, he says, but an integral part of many professions, making it increasingly necessary for tomorrow's business leaders to have a working understanding of programming languages such as Python. Griffel teaches 2 of the business school's most popular new tech courses, Intro to Programming Using Python and Intro to Databases for Business Analytics. 7. MBAs Who Code. Over the past 3 years, the Division of Decision, Risk and Operations has launched nearly a dozen electives into coding and programming that have exploded in popularity and reverberated across the business school, touching more than a quarter of the student population and propelling graduates to management positions at Amazon, Facebook, and Microsoft, among other top tech firms. Being technically literate is almost a core skill, says Angela Lee, Chief Innovation Officer and Associate Dean of Teaching Excellence and Innovation. We're responding in a way that provides the technical skills that the business leader needs. 8. Predicting the World Cup is like trying to beat the market. Like the stock market, the game of soccer is almost impossible to predict, adjunct finance professor Michael Mauboussan explains in this article published before the 2018 World Cup kicked off. You can only assess skill over a longer period of time, says Mabussan, who authored The Success Equation, a book that dissects the difference between luck and skill that goes into winning. That's a struggle in the investment industry. We tend to shorten our horizons, whereas for many strategies the sample sizes have to be large to make any kind of reasonable assessment. Ideas at Work also spoke with Sunil Gulati, the Michael K. de Colliers Senior Lecturer in the discipline of economics, who recently served as president of the U.S. Soccer Federation for 12 years. In another article, Amit Khandelwal, the Jerome A. Chazin Professor of Global Business, explains why all the World Cup soccer balls are produced in a remote Pakistani city. 9. Trump's economic scorecard. When U.S. voters went to the ballot box in November for midterm elections, many were giving their assessment of President Donald Trump's first 2 years in office. For an economist's perspective, Ideas at Work sought input from Dean Glenn Hubbard, the Russell L. Carson Professor of Finance and Economics, and Charles Calamiris, the Henry Kaufman Professor of Financial Institutions. Their big-picture answer: Trump's record is complicated. Hubbard said he would advise Trump improve access to the economy for all and return to the notion of fiscal sustainability. 10. Tune out to tune in. Essential reading for anyone going on vacation, this article offers advice from Professors Malia Mason and William Duggan on making the most of time away from work. Duggan, for his part, believes the smartphone has become one of the biggest obstacles to productive mind wandering, which is why he recommends leaving the smartphone home not just when you go on vacation, but also during regular activities such as when you go to the gym or eat a meal. A vacation can also free the mind from mental labors such as remembering that the laundry needs to be cleaned, that the dog needs a vet appointment, or that the fridge needs milk, says Mason. Vacation might be a time when you're not thinking of that stuff in the background or those responsibilities, she says, so your mind is free to focus on what's important.